Welcome to How to Do Everything. My name is Tommy Dasilo, and today on the show, Justin Hamilton is going to teach me the correct way to play poker. How to Do Everything is on Patreon. If you like the show and you want to support it, head over to patreon.com/howtodoeverything. You can get a bonus mini little episode every week for being a supporter. There is one coming up at the end of this week with Justin Hamilton. So if you want to support the show, that is the way to do it. Justin Hamilton, he is a legend of Australian stand-up comedy. You may have seen one of his shows at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, or any of the comedy festivals around the country for that matter. He is one of the greats. I have known him for such a long time. I was rapt to finally have him on the show. He's won the Director's Choice Award at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. He's done so many amazing things, and he's a great hang. He's so much fun to be around. And so I hope you enjoy this episode of How to Do Everything with Justin Hamilton. Hammo.
Oh, yes. What an intro.
I intro every episode that way. It's just nice coincidence that finally there's a guest who would make sense for.
There's younger comedians going, what? Like, do I have to get a cream for that? Like, what is that?
Thank you for joining me here in my hotel room.
It's great.
Yeah.
Look at us on a lounge together. People said it would never happen.
I feel more pressure about someone coming into a hotel room that I'm in than I do about them coming to my house, because I feel like the state that a hotel room is in is such a true reflection of how you really live.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I checked in late this afternoon, late yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
And we're doing this the next morning. You would not believe how much I had to tidy up. I was like, what have I been, like, you know what I mean? You just get in and you're like, yeah, jacket on the ground.
Right.
Like, it's all, I don't live like that at home, but I was like, how is this place this much of a pigsty? I've been in here for like 13 hours.
You know, I was literally about to say, proper use of the word literally, kids, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But you tidied up.
I did tidy up. No, it took like half an hour. It was so much tidying up to do. I've had one shower.
Yeah.
I've slept.
Yeah.
I've changed clothes once. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I haven't thought about that before, but you're right, because if the tables were reversed, my stuff's so fucking neat.
Right.
Like, it's so neat.
Yeah, okay.
And I kind of keep everything in one or two places, because I've done too many tours where you're 30 minutes out and someone says, I've left my suit behind. Yes, that was Dave Callan. And love Dave Callan. We were half an hour out of somewhere, and his suit that he wears every night, he'd left. So I kind of, it's more practical. I leave everything in certain spots, so it's just like when I clean up, I go, do.
I don't know if you've had this experience where I've, over the years, we did like a handful of Little Dum Dum Club episodes at like someone else's hotel room, right? Some big dog where you feel like, well, we got to come to you, and hey, is it easier if we just come to your hotel room? Yeah. And when you go into someone else's hotel room and there's just shit everywhere, like they have not felt the pressure around you to tidy up their room. I feel like that's the ultimate, it's a combination of big dog move versus like it really shows you what they think of you.
Oh, yeah,
like,
I was about
to tidy up for this prick.
I was about to say, what it says to me is that you're a better person than whoever those big dogs are. I've turned on all of the big dogs.
Yeah. It is, it's great to have you on the show. So first of all, I feel like there's something I need to ask you about. You've come up in a story on the show before.
Oh, really? Okay.
With Wil Anderson.
I've heard of him.
A little while ago, start of the year, people might remember, we were talking about massages and studying massage.
Oh.
And he told a story about getting accredited as a masseuse.
Yes.
Because I was trying to look up short-term, like just do a massage class for my partner as like a Christmas present, right?
Yeah.
She always wants me to give her a massage. I'm no good at the massage. And it is almost impossible to find just like a recreational day-long massage course that you can do that doesn't have some kind of accreditation tied to it.
Yeah.
You cannot do, it's so hard to find one that isn't for like a week and gets you out of there with a certificate. And it's like, no, I just want to know how to, just a couple of hours to like learn the basics to,
Surely there's like a YouTube thing where you can look and it says 1, clip nails, 2, use oil, 3, just whatever she seems to like, just keep doing it.
Yeah, and then a link to like an Enya playlist on iTunes to set the mood.
Yeah.
But Will was basically talking about how he had basically the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He was going to do it for a radio segment.
Yeah.
And had to get accredited.
Yeah.
And this all culminated with an outside broadcast where he was massaging you in front of an audience.
Yeah, magic happens.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about it is I think it's really important to point out that back in the day, recreational drugs were fantastic. So it's not like it was something that didn't always happen.
Right.
Just this time, there was a bigger audience.
Yeah. You were being paid a little bit.
Yeah, well,
there was a record of it.
It was Triple
the
J.
ABC.
Yeah. No, I was given a lot of promises.
No, in exposure.
Oh yeah,
it's still payment.
Yeah.
But what's your recollection of that event? Because there's a specific part of your involvement that he singled out, and I'm interested in whether you remember this moment or whether you've blocked it out.
I may have blocked it out. Weirdly, you're saying it to me, but what I'm remembering is a photo that someone took, and I kind of can't remember because
this is like therapy where I've got you in a sleep thing and I'm like awakening the memory in you.
Mate, this is when I start crying and saying, "Look, I've never met my dad." This is the little chip in the wall that's going to bring it all down. You have to jog my memory because this is I remember this was towards the end of his Triple J tenure, and he was doing lots of things.
It was I think it was their last year. It was like their bucket list kind of stuff.
My favourite because weirdly the one I remember the most was that he said that he would always wanted to eat a whole cake, and that just as a concept that made me laugh heaps. And then like an amateur, he picked I think it was like a lemon meringue that's just chock full of sugar, and about halfway through it, it's like, oh, he's about to go into a coma.
Yeah.
And then he was ruined for the next 24 hours as his blood sugar levels were spiking and dropping, and he was falling asleep and waking up. So
that's funny you mentioned that because I got home last night from a gig to this room, and I'd had like kind of a small dinner, and I was in bed. It was like 11 o'clock, and I was like, not super, like a little peckish, not super hungry. And there's the little kind of mini bar snack thing there.
Yes.
And there was a little Snickers bar in there just staring at me. And I'm not a snacker. I'm not really a sweet tooth. Like I never have dessert.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I just could not. I felt like I was going insane.
Yeah.
And I've talked about this on the show before of having like poor impulse control and like something will pop into my head, like an idea or like I'll see a jacket advertised online, right? And I'm like, oh, that's a good jacket. I should get that jacket. And I'm like, no, it's pretty expensive and you've got a jacket that looks just like that. Don't buy the jacket. And unfortunately, the only way to get that thought to go forever is to buy the jacket.
Yes.
Literally nothing else works.
Yes.
It just stays, the thought just stays there in my head forever.
Yeah.
And it was like that with the Snickers. I was like, just sitting there, just could not stop thinking about the Snickers.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? The gig went well. I didn't really have a big dinner.
Yeah.
I'm going to treat myself. But then I was like, if I eat the Snickers and I'm in bed, I'm just going to feel awful. Like I'm just lying in bed with a chocolate bar in my guts.
Yeah.
So I thought this was my plan. I was like, if I have the Snickers and then I have a shower straight afterwards, that's going to kind of reset the Snickers feeling.
Oh yeah.
And then I'll get
It'll wash
back
the sugar
into
out of you.
I'll get back into bed feeling all fresh.
Yeah.
And I can pretend that the Snickers just happened on another day. That was yesterday.
Yeah.
But then I went to sleep and I felt like just having this like really sugary treat right before sleep.
Yeah.
I felt fucking awful.
Yeah. What time did you get to sleep?
Oh, like this, I went to bed kind of early. I think it was like I fell asleep kind of at 11:30, but then I woke up like 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
And I just felt
awake.
insane.
Yeah.
The like intense emotional roller coaster that I went on with this fucking Snickers bar was insane. I've never experienced anything like it.
Yeah, you know, I reckon the thoughts that you have creep into your head when you've gone to sleep and wake up are the worst thoughts that you will ever have to deal with.
Yeah.
The worst.
Yeah.
And you're just stuck with them, and you can try and read, you can, you know.
It's the 2 a.m., 3 a.m. wake up, plus having had like a couple of beers before you've gone to sleep.
Yeah.
That just magnifies all of it. That hour, that period is like the worst kind of emotional distress a human being can go through.
It's great the way your subconscious will just go, hey, you haven't thought about this for a while. And you go,
Yeah.
well, there was a reason for that. I didn't want to think about that anymore.
My current one is like, maybe this is like an age / where career stuff is at. It's just the voice going, what are you doing?
Oh, mate, that voice.
Where's this leading?
Yeah.
What are you going to be doing
Yeah.
when you're 50? Do you think this is sustainable for that much longer?
Mate, wait till you get to 52.
Oh, I can't see that happening.
Well, it's good to get out early, I reckon.
I'm eating Snickers bars in bed.
It's great to be here for your last pod.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you're going to have to give me a rejig about Wil.
Like, if I just thread this out for the entire episode,
I love it.
talking about overthinking and being woken up in the middle of the night, if we get distracted and I just never tell you what the story is.
I'm fine with that as well. I was just, that's such a topic that I could talk about for ages, so I thought I'd better get back to the Wil thing.
Okay.
We'll never get back to it.
This is great. We're having so many jumping off points from just Wil's life.
It comes in handy.
Okay, so the way he tells it is you're doing this OB in Adelaide.
Yeah.
He's massaging you and he's getting lower and lower and he gets a bit lower and he just hears you go, that's my nuts. I was trying to, for people not watching the video, you were taking a sip of water. I was like, if I can get to this right moment, Justin's got
close.
a mouthful.
It was close. Well, A, I was worried because he's anaphylactic, and B, he did. He accidentally poked me in the nutsack, and I completely forgot about that.
So it truly is a repressed memory.
Yeah. It's, you know, like there's Wil Anderson fans that would pay good money for that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
When that episode went up, someone immediately was like, you got to get Justin on so we can hear his side of the story. I'm like, I don't know how many other sides there can be. Just
Mate, there's
he's
one
there
side
on his front with his head in that little hole and his nuts get poked.
Yeah, and it just felt like, from what I do remember, is I reckon it was the second one. Because I thought the first one happened, and I think he poked it the first time, and I just went, "Oh, that's embarrassing."
I thought you meant the second nut. I'm like,
oh no,
you've got a hierarchy for them.
There was another nut on the grassy knoll. Nobody talks about it. He couldn't have hit it from this angle, but if there was a second nut, no. I think he hit me once, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? I'll let that one go."
We're broadcasting. I'll keep it professional.
Yeah, and then the second one, I thought I'm gonna have burst
Someone's
nuts.
got to. How many more times is this going to happen if I don't speak up?
Yeah, I'm injured. Trying to do a mate a little favour.
Well, it's great to finally not only to get the other side of that story on the show, but also to remind you of a beautiful moment in your life, back in your hometown, getting fingered live on stage.
Mate, people say that all your goals are out of reach, but it turned out mine was finger length.
Yeah, the way he describes it is like you're there, head down in the thing,
head down.
and then also on stage is like
head
Adam
down
Hills.
in the thing should be the title of my next show.
Also on stage is like, I think he said it was Adam Hills and the Hilltop Hoods. And I described it as being was
it Hillsy or Spencer?
Maybe, Spencer definitely because it was their show. I think maybe they had Hillsy as a guest, plus there were just enough elements to it where it made me think of, you know that insane mural that Warnie had in his house where it's like him hanging out with like Jack Nicholson? That's
what I should get. I should get a mural made of that moment. But I rent, so I have to take it with me everywhere. That's great. I can't move in here. There's not a big enough wall for my mural.
No, you just forego the bond.
Oh yeah,
that's all. That's really all you have to do. Yeah. When you think about the joy that you would get from having that permanently on the wall, and also knowing that whoever then moves in after has to also have it on the wall.
Happy birthday!
For like what, a few grand?
Yeah.
That's a small price to pay, really.
Mate, that is great. That is great, and I can claim it on tax because we've got it on the podcast.
Yeah, is that all that? Like, if you did something, obviously, like if you fucked up the house in some way, they keep your bond. Like that's why it's there, so that they can not have to chase you for the money. But like, at what level? Like, if you went in and you like changed the layout of the house to that extent, like you did something insane like that, where the cost of that for them to undo is so much more than the bond.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is it like the assumption that it's just like well, this will cover everything.
Yeah.
Like, what level can you get to where they're like, hey, I'm sorry, this isn't going to cut it?
Yeah. I reckon even if they didn't charge you, I'd probably be homeless because no one else is going to let me have a place. Because I'd be on some list.
Yeah. But that's what you need to make sure you've gotten the next place before you do
absolutely,
this.
yeah.
Or you've bought and then you're just out of the system entirely and they can never get to you.
The idea of buying a place and then that's my flipping the bird to the real estate agencies, mate, that'd be great.
Because that makes it sting even more because it's like this guy, he'd already bought his own place.
Yeah, what's he doing?
That he's in forever.
Yeah.
And yet he put the mural of himself getting his nuts rubbed on stage in front of the Hilltop Hoods.
Mate.
He put that in the rental?
Mate, I reckon I'd even go as far as every time you looked at it, they'd trigger something that the Hilltop Hoods would play.
Yeah. Yeah, like those little frogs that have the sensor in them.
Yeah.
Like the Billy Big Mouth Bass or whatever it's called.
It's just my head popping up.
But then your defense is like, yeah, I'm in the mural. You think I want to look at this every day in my house that I own? I'm not a narcissist. This is for someone else to enjoy.
This is what finally inspired me. I got to get away from this.
This place I'm living is a shithole. There's a mural of the Hilltop Hoods on it, on the wall that's always singing at me every time I walk past. I can't fucking live here anymore.
And me being sexually abused by a Triple J host. I should sue.
Well, I'm glad you've brought up in a roundabout way that cake came up before because I would say, like, I've known you since I was probably like, what,
7?
like 19 or something.
Mate, you were young. How old were you when you first started doing stand-up?
I was 16, and I reckon I met you, probably right around then. I guess I probably still would have been at school. Yeah, I definitely would have done gigs with you while I was still at school. Yeah. I was actually thinking about this earlier this morning because, like... Yeah, I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
You were so supportive when I started out. We became friends. You were a bit of a mentor. You directed a couple of my shows. And I feel like because I have this with other people on the other side, like there's 12, 13 years, but like age gap between us.
Yeah.
And like I have this with other people who like I'm the older one.
Yeah.
And I feel like you just remain like sort of stuck in that sort of like view of the relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And like I feel like there's probably an element to you where you still think of me as this little kid, which is so funny when I'm like nearly 40 and bald.
Yeah. No, but it's not creatively or intellectually or anything like that. It was just like earlier when when I sort of went to say, as guys who are getting older, I was, oh my God, Tommy Dassolo's getting older.
Yeah, I can legitimately say that. But it's so funny. I remember being like 24 and having a bit or like, where I would go like, oh, I'm starting to get older. And like guys like you would be like, man, fuck off. Don't, the MC would come on afterwards and you would see some people roll their eyes in the crowd. But then, and being like, what, and now I'll be at gigs and guess what? I see 25-year-olds doing material about getting older and it's everything's relative. I am the oldest I've ever been.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's one of the things you kind of have to train yourself. I think when I was your age, I'd see comedians who are, 45 to 50 who are really angry and bitter and just really, really nasty about stuff. And I always thought, oh, don't be that.
I know.
Don't be that. And I reckon part of that is not getting angry at some, like I directed Jenny Tian's show this year, which was a joy. She was so... I really like her as a person. Like she's a good hang, but she's so diligent. She works so hard, and but part of her show was about getting close to 30 and feeling like time's running out. And if I was a dumbass, I'd be like, But instead it's like, oh, well, this is where you're at. And
and not only that, like her audience that are coming are also, a lot of them are the same age as her and in that same state of life, so they can totally relate.
I went to her show at the Enmore. So I worked with her for about 8-9 months and it was all video because she was in the UK. And then I finally saw the show live at the Enmore. And the great thing about Jenny was every time she sent me a clip, not a clip, a full show, it was always better. So when I saw
Yeah, right.
the Enmore. It was the best that it's been.
Great.
And I turned around and I was like, there was like an older gay couple next to me. There was some older ladies here. There were some people who looked like they probably had never seen stand-up.
Yep.
Really young people. It was
The Hilltop Hoods.
It was the Hilltop Hoods.
Wil Anderson.
Will was saying, do you want me to massage your nuts? I said, no, mate, this is not about me. This is about Jenny.
Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, what was he doing there? He's back. Never left us. So, so it is easy to be dismissive of what other people are experiencing. The only time I get kind of on my heels about it is when people try to explain shit to me.
Yeah,
and I go,
yeah.
No. I
was
get
there
it
for that. But again, I'm
not going to begrudge you or talk down to you, but I get it.
But then at the same time, I know what you mean, but you can remember being like that, right? So it's like,
absolutely.
There's just something kind of like beautifully like frustrating and reliable about the cycle of things where everyone goes, I'm never going to lose touch with popular culture, I'm never going to be like, I'm never going to be like an angry old crank, and then it's like things just fuck you off more as you get older. You
get too much experience.
You think that you're going to be the one. You think that like everyone in your life that's an example of that is like that, but like that it's opt in or opt out, and you're like, well, I simply just won't be like that.
No, I'll be different compared to the whole human race. I just finished. We're recording this the day after season 2 of Andor finished.
Oh yeah.
Not really a Star Wars guy. I saw Star Wars as I worked out yesterday as a 4-year-old when it first came out in the cinema, and but like I'm pretty kind of dismissive of it as an IP, and Tony Gilroy, who made the Bourne movies and Michael Clayton, which I thought one of your greatest movies of all time, the Bourne Ultimatum. And this
is the thing. I sent you this like the questionnaire that I send to everyone with all these questions, and I was thinking about it this way. I'm like, you and I have so much like funny shared history that I don't know if we've ever gotten into on the record. That I'm sure we can just go back and forth with this kind of shit.
I'm happy to come back again and answer your questions. So, for everyone listening, I had a spare ticket to see the Bourne Ultimatum. Matt Damon was making an appearance.
He was there, yeah.
He was there, and I took little Tommy Dassolo back when he was a youngster, and the where we were sitting was like we're a row of seats, and then there was it was the end of that section. So
it's like a raised, like at the Rivoli, right? So it's like a big kind of old school style cinema that had sort of like not a balcony, but like a bit with a little bench in front of you.
Bench in front of you, that kind of, and then in front of that bench was where people could walk, and then it was the next section of seats. And you went off. I think you went off to go to the toilet or something. And when you came back, you walked towards me, and what was it? It was your jacket, wasn't it? Or
I mean, obviously, this was happening completely outside of my knowledge.
I think you had a jacket in a bag around your back, so you weren't across it. But as you walked towards me, you knocked everyone's drinks and popcorn and snacks onto the ground, totally oblivious.
Which might not sound like a lot, but this is at these kinds of preview screenings. Mate. Everyone gets a free thing of popcorn on their seat there, ready to go when they get in.
And a drink.
So this wasn't just like, people might be thinking, oh, well, how many things of popcorn was that? It was like, no. Literally every seat that I walked past, and we were like in the middle.
We were about 8 or 9
popcorn
in, mate.
On it.
It was, and at first I thought you were doing it deliberately, and that was funny. And then when I realised you weren't doing it deliberately, I lost my mind. And
again, for younger people listening, this is the thing of how everything's there might be younger people listening who are who've just gone to see the Minecraft movie.
Oh yeah,
and thrown a box of popcorn at the screen when they heard Chicken Jockey. So you might be thinking, what's the big deal?
Yeah,
this kind of shit just happens in cinemas all the time.
Yeah,
but this is a different era.
Yeah, I know. You know what?
It used to be kind of weird to throw popcorn around the cinema.
I have a feeling that most of those people would have liked to have eaten that popcorn. And had a drink in the movie, because the movie then started pretty much straight away, so it was done. And
the perfect, a movie about a guy kind of being this sort of secret operative and having to live in the shadows and everything, prefaced by a man just completely unaware of his surroundings.
Look, I either went, he's never working for ASIO, or this is the best cover I've ever seen. I couldn't work it out. I couldn't work it out.
I wish I had have done it on purpose, although I don't know. Would you have respected it if I'd done it on purpose? It's kind of a dick move to just deliberately just walk past and just knock everyone's thing of popcorn over the ledge.
When I thought, for the brief instance that I thought you were doing it deliberately, I did think it was out of character, but that kind of made me laugh.
Right.
And then when I realised you had no idea, it was like plonk, 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 plonk,
I mean, if I had have done it on purpose and you know, carried on the facade for this long to you that it was by accident.
Mate, yeah.
And then this was the moment that I revealed, Justin, the real
Mate,
reason I got you on here. It wasn't to ask about the massage.
I would respect that.
It was to let you know I did do that deliberately.
I did it deliberately. and then we watched the movie, and then we were all so fired up. I remember Tom Gleeson coming up to us and saying, all right, I'll give you 5 minutes. You start running back to Surrey Hill, to Fitzroy, and then I'll chase you.
That's right.
Across the buildings. It was a good day.
Well, hey, I started talking about this with the cake, and I mean, we've known each other such a long time, and like some of the biggest laughs I've ever had in my life have been in your company, including one night we were driving back from a gig.
I know what you're talking about.
And we were in the back of a cab, and we just you are the king of the completely. The side comment about just like a random thing that you've seen in the street.
Right.
It's such a good device.
Yeah.
It's one that I've, used not always successfully, but sometimes successfully with people in my life.
Yeah.
And when it hits, it really hits.
Yeah.
So we were in the back of an Uber, and we saw a guy in a tuxedo.
Yeah.
Like running down the street.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah, running down North Terrace in Adelaide. I remember exactly where it was.
Comment on this.
Yeah, I do.
Like, whatever. Just a guy in a tux running down the street. And I'll let you do the honours.
No, you go. Go.
You turned to me and you said, Jesus Christ, he's just escaped from a cake.
Yeah. Like... It was a split second thing of like, oh yeah, I'll say this to Tommy. Hey mate.
It's like people talk about the guy that's like always on as if like, oh, that's such a tedious thing to be, but it's like joy is everywhere in the, you know what I mean?
Oh,
it's like, you're not always going to see like a funny thing of a guy like tripping and his pants falling down. It's like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to build this shit yourself and just bring a little bit of fucking mirth, you know?
And it's not always like, I'm not always on. I'm not like saying, like, we're not going past a tree and going, oh, wonder if that dog ever barked on that. And you go, what? Like, it's they're the ones that drive you insane, or some arsehole who's dropping puns every second sentence. And you're like, going, oh, I'm going to honestly kill myself.
Hurry up, Jesus.
Like, hurry up.
But escape from a cake. I now I think it every time I'm at a wedding. I think it every time I see just even if I just walk past a clothing store and there's like a tailor that's got a tuxedo in the window. Yeah. I think if he's escaped from a cake.
Mate, if it's any consolation, if I see a tuxedo, I think about the two of us laughing so hard. It was one of those ones where when you try to talk, your voice is squeaky.
Oh man, and that's right. Yeah, because we were in Adelaide doing gigs, and I was staying with my family friends, which was like near your mum's place where you were staying. So we would get as like a maybe 10-ish minute cab each night, and I remember like being in bed afterwards and me still laughing and texting you going, it's still not, I really did think I was going to be laughing for the rest of my life. I was like,
what a way
this
to
is
go.
Unbelievable.
They were fun gigs too.
Yeah.
They were really fun gigs.
Is that where we DJ'd one night after one of them?
So good. So good. I honestly thought that was going to be the start of a new career.
Me too.
Yeah. And that was, have you...
DJ is the best pivot for anyone, I reckon.
Right. Yeah. If you can vaguely work out how a song can go into another song, don't get me wrong, there's DJs who are masters at their craft, but you can... For a drunk audience, if you can just do it vaguely, you can.
If you want to kind of tack it onto something you already do, right? Yeah. Like you're in town already doing stand-up gigs for a festival or whatever.
You know who can't do it?
Who?
Tom Gleeson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can't beat match.
Mate, you remember when we used to DJ at the... Hi-Fi bar, and comedians would get up and just do it with their iPods, and I was having a pretty good night, and then he came up, and this won't make any sense because he's now in his 50s, but when he was younger, if he got a little bit drunk, he became who he is now.
No, good point.
Old man Gleeson.
Good point.
So he came up to me, he said, let me put in a song, I've got the perfect song, and I'm like, no, I've kind of worked out how this is going to work, and he's like, nah, come on, little fella, let me have a go. And then he put on what he thought rhythmically was perfect, but it was a Led Zeppelin song with specific drumming that cleared the audience.
It's kind of, I really do think that you need to be into music to DJ, but you can be into it too much. I DJ'd recently for the second time in my life.
Yeah.
The first time I'd done it was about 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I had cleared the dance floor by playing Do the Bartman. I thought, people will be into this. Yeah. And then people are like, for the first 10 seconds are like, it's kind of funny. And if I'd known how to like mix in and out, I could have just given them that taste and then gotten myself out of there.
Like a real DJ.
Yeah, but I didn't know how to do any of that. And that song it's like 5.5 minutes long. It's it's weirdly longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
And so this most recent time, I was talking to our friends Brenna and Talia about it because there's a night called Finishing School that Andy McClelland runs, and they do it a lot. And they were like, you really have to think about like the way I was thinking about it afterwards was like you pick a lot of your favorite bands, but then you play the songs of theirs that you never listen to for enjoyment, right? So you pick like the biggest. Like the biggest single of theirs that like, I'm never really throwing on A-Punk by Vampire Weekend in my own listening. I listen to heaps of their stuff, but that's never the one I'm going for. Yeah. But when you're DJing, that's the one you got to play. Yeah. Like I would imagine Gleason's getting up there and playing like Rush and just like, because he's that like, he's a drummer and he's like I could see him being like too deep in the weeds of like technically what makes something great.
Mate, he approached it mathematically.
Yeah, exactly.
And he forgot that dancing's just about feels.
Yeah.
He hasn't felt anything in years. Like, Gleason, what are you doing? In his defense, he went, well, that didn't work out. And he just kind of shut, and we never got them back. But, what I was going to ask you was, how do you feel about the yacht rock phenomenon? Because that was kind of the music that was being played that night at the Rhino Room. Like it was.
I've always liked that stuff. It's kind of and again, this is a thing of like not wanting to be a fucking version of a cliche as you get older that you've witnessed and disliked when you were younger.
Yeah.
But the thing of like, I've always been, people are just coming around to this now.
Yeah.
This, like, you don't want to be that guy, but like that thing of it being, and then people kind of turn on it because they feel like it's just like
it's
this
fad.
performative fad or whatever. But that's just kind of like, when I was kind of getting into music when I was in high school, I didn't like any rock stuff. I always hated like the like Linkin Park and like Limp Bizkit, and a lot of people of my age now have this kind of nostalgic fondness for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I always hated that. Like my favorite band was Jamiroquai. I loved like funk. I loved like real kind vibe, like fun energy kind of music. I always like hated that sort of harsh guitar tone kind of stuff. So I've always liked something that's got a little bit of like funk in the mix, a little bit of like vibe in there. And so that stuff all being like Steely Dan really being like top of people's radar at the moment. I'm loving it. Like it's nice to not feel like I'm into this stuff kind of like in the shadows and like an outsider or whatever.
I watched the Yacht Rock doco.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
It's great. Yeah. Someone points out that it's kind of the only musical genre alongside classical that gets named later, like after the event. Because like back in the day, no one's like, what are you playing? Oh, I'm Beethoven. I play classical.
I can't wait to go see Beethoven play some classical.
Yeah.
No, they would have been like, I'm going to go see some current.
Yeah, I'm going to see some current. Yeah, I'm going to see some right now stuff. So Yacht Rock is...
I guess it would have been pop, right?
Yeah, it was just... It was just soft rock. That's kind of what it was. But what I've loved is... Because I loved Michael McDonald for so many years, and then seeing him get his flowers.
Yeah.
And,
big time.
A couple of my friends and I were going to go and see Yachtly Crew on Saturday night. We can't wait.
Awesome. Wait, is that a Yacht Rock? Is that a Motley Crue cover band in the style of Yacht Rock?
No. It's a little bit misleading, but it's just a funny name.
The idea of someone being there because they want to hear Motley Crue songs done in the style of Yacht Rock and not getting that and arms folded furious is very funny.
I hope it'll be me. I'll be that guy. I'm going to do it.
Band? There's that like bluegrass band that does AC/DC covers, and they've got some kind of name like that. It escapes me now, but yeah.
But what's been really fun is like Michael McDonald was, he's been like, I was a bit, oh God, what? That doesn't even really have anything to do with yachts. But then he's seen like Christopher Cross, they've all seen, people are back into our music.
Yeah.
But what's been great is Daryl Hall from Hall & Oates, who they state isn't yacht rock, but still kind of gets put in that category.
Yeah.
He's really angry about it. And what's fantastic is anytime someone posts quotes online, this is when I do enjoy social media. There's just all these comments from people underneath going, "Oh no, he can't go for that," and just using his own lyrics to take him down.
The worst. That's gotta kill you.
It's gotta kill you.
Gotta fucking hurt.
It's great, but yeah, what a phenomenon to be slightly ahead of the yacht rock phenomenon and then suddenly realize that you're a part of something again.
And it's cool that like you go out to like a trendy bar or whatever and they're just playing all the stuff that you like. It's like a great feeling.
It's still a little bit underground as well. I was at a birthday party and I was telling a couple of my mates about it, and they honestly thought I was making fun of them. Like, they thought I was like, shut up, yacht rock.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what do you do? And I was like, mate, it just makes you want to smoke a menthol cigarette on a boat wearing a captain's hat surrounded by lots of lovely ladies.
That's it, isn't it? That's totally it. I think it's like there's
smooth.
Like a song can like remind you of like where and when you were when you first heard it, and if you listen to an album like on a great holiday in the summer, like you're always going to have that attachment to it, regardless of what the vibe of the music is. But I think that's it. There are certain styles of music, and that's kind of what funk has always been to me, is that it's like it transports you to a nicer place, even if that's not your original connection to it. It just always feels like you're in a there's a Jamiroquai song called 7 Days in Sunny June, which is about like having this like kind of summer like longing for someone and this like kind of unrequited love. But it's very funny, this song called 7 Days in Sunny June, and you're listening to it in Melbourne being like, it's fucking shithouse in June. What are you talking about, JK?
Awful.
Sounds awful. Of course this relationship isn't going to work out. It's the fucking most grim time of the year.
Mate, it is. It's hard to explain to people who haven't lived in Melbourne, but it is that specifically I always found mid-July to the end of August is when shit gets real.
I've only just recently come around to this realization about myself that I truly am a seasonal depressive person.
Yeah.
Like I would go through the same thing every year of like, I think there's something truly wrong with me where I need to get help. I want to kill myself. And it's like, it's kind of weird that it's always at the exact same time of the year that I start to feel this way.
Mate,
Those like getting dark at like 4:45. It fucks my head up big time.
My favourite... So I'm sure it's a good friend of mine, so I'm sure a good friend of yours as well, Limo. I remember this is a while back when I was still living in Melbourne, and one day at Mario's, old school, and we were hanging out, and Limo's just like, oh man, I just don't know what's going on with my career. I feel so down. I just feel so depressed, and I just can't seem to get anything going, and I don't know what the future holds. And I let him talk and let him get it out of his system. And then I said, mate, you're on the project on Fridays. You have a TV show called Before the Game, which is about the AFL, which you love. You're on the board of the Hawthorn Football Club, which you grew up loving. You do breakfast radio Monday to Friday. You do corporate gigs. You have someone that you are not only living with, but you're about to marry, and you own a house in Fitzroy and you own another house elsewhere. I think you're fine. And he was like, And then
but it's raining right now.
That's it. And then it was about 2 weeks later. It was the first blue sky in September, and he calls me and went, Hammo, I'm back.
He looks up into the sky and he sees your face in the cloud.
It's me
like
giving
Mufasa.
thumbs up.
My partner is from Perth, and so that's like a form of brain damage, no offense. Where
hang on, sorry, that she's from Perth or that she's from Perth living in Melbourne dealing with winter?
I just think people like Perth people, like I've been over there in like July to do gigs. Yeah. And I'll be walking around like in a t-shirt. And I remember like doing a run of gigs there. Middle of July. Yeah. And literally every act I saw from Perth doing material about how cold it was at the moment. And I'm this is a holiday for me. This is awesome. Took the dog for a walk the other night. It was like a nice 20 degrees outside. Yeah. I've got a t-shirt on. I come in, she's got the fucking heater on. She's like under a doona with a hot water bottle, and she's got the heater on. Yeah. Like it dips below 25 and she's like, it's Arctic. We need the heater on at all times.
A good mate of mine for people who don't know, I'm the talent producer on The Chase. Yep. So, which is a quiz show that has people who are very good at quizzes, who play characters, and I produce them, and watch Larry Emder interview people and write funny things that you can say between 5 and 6 p.m. And sometimes I write things that you can't, but that's just for us.
Yep.
But Mara, who plays the smiling assassin, she and her partner, they have separate quilts. But so she can just bunch up and be toasty, and he can kick his off and be fine. So
I was talking
that's
to
the
some
next
younger
move.
people recently about them and their partners, and I don't know how the logistics of this work when cost of living and rent prices and everything, but the idea of the separate bedroom from a younger age is just, it's really taken hold, and it made me feel good.
I reckon it's if I ever had a nervous breakdown and ended up in another relationship, I would. By the way, that's not a comment on exes. Still friends with all my exes, but I'm at a stage now that when I meet a girl that I quite like and find attractive, I'm like, hey, can we just break up now before we start seeing each other so we can get to the good bit forever? You
were telling me about you were breaking up with a partner once, and you were like amazed at how kind of how easy it all was in terms of like the logistics, and like it was all pretty chill and respectful, and you were like, it was so good that at the end of it I was like, man, I should ask her out.
Yeah. This girl's great. I don't know what wasn't working before, but this is fantastic. No, I reckon I'm pretty annoying, but there's enough of me to love from afar.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm like, some of my best friends are exes. It's sometimes especially hard for people that have had really bad breakups.
Oh yeah.
To absolutely not be able to fathom. The last girl that I dated, who was great, but she just would see me hanging out with one of my exes and go, oh, you're still obsessed with your ex. I'm like, we broke up 23 years ago.
Right.
Like I stayed at her place with a new partner.
Yeah.
Like the guy she's been with for like 10 years.
Yeah.
You know? Or there's, another girl that I dated in the 90s, and I visit her all the time when I'm in Melbourne, and she's married with 3 boys, and the boy's 18. You know? If you love someone and it doesn't end badly, it should just transform into something else if you're lucky.
It's a good point. I mean, I definitely, I have, all ended quite badly, or not even, some of them, even the ones that haven't ended badly, I've just got no desire to still carry on a relationship or friendship with them.
Yeah.
And there is a part of me where there is a person that you meet that's like way too into the obsessive idea of still trying to be friends with their exes, and that I find weird. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you've got the option of just not having a bit of negativity in your life, if it was able to be a thing where you don't carry that around and harbor that, and always in the back of your head, you're like, God, imagine if I ran into them, that would just be
my
brutal.
Lord. It can't always work out. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, and it can't. This is my tip for anyone going through a breakup that's not awful. It can't happen straight away. You need to have time away.
Yep.
And you need to be this new version of yourself, and they need to be their new version of themselves. And so, because of regardless of how it ends, even if it ends really well, the first time they date someone else, you go, you're still a little bit off.
Right.
But if you can kind of overcome your ego in that part, and you bump into each other and you have a really nice time.
Yep.
At the worst, it can be you see each other and go, hey, how's it going? And you have a nice chat, and if that's the worst thing, it's a win.
Yeah. No, of course. So just to quickly go back to
getting touched on the nuts.
Our long friendship.
Yeah.
And it's we've kind of touched on this a few times, or elements of this a few times, is that I remember, because weirdly I used to go around to your apartment quite a bit that you lived in with Stephen Gates from Tripod.
What a time!
And
to
I
be
now
alive.
live around the corner from that apartment, so I just walk past that house all the time now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice because it takes me back to those days where me and my friend Drew would go and we would play poker with you guys.
Yeah.
You guys taught me 2 very valuable things. Number one, that's where I learned how to play poker.
Yeah.
Was being on roadshow with you guys.
Yeah.
But also, because recently I was trying to teach Lauren how to play poker.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the biggest part about it, and this is true of so many things, it's about the pageantry.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about the pageantry.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of anything worse than being one of those people who just sits there and is just obsessively looking at the cards and the chips.
Well, once again,
you guys
that was...
it was like I don't know, it was like the Ninja Turtles or something, where you all had your own, everyone's got their own little shtick that they do.
Gleason would always like that, and you'd go, like, did he get good cards or did he not get good cards?
I was telling someone about this the other day, that I think my favourite one is Gleason's, going all in on some like outrageous bet where he's matching someone.
Yeah.
And he would do this bit where he would pretend that he was calling his wife to see if it was okay if he took more money out of the joint bank account.
Yeah, he was
a
very
fake
funny.
phone call is such a great comedy device.
Mate.
And then putting them all in the shorthand of just going, joint bank account.
Man, they were genuinely funny times. It was poker in one corner.
Yep.
And then Gatesy, this will sound kind of lame because everyone can do this now, but back in the day, Gatesy was the master at finding YouTube clips that like Farting Preacher number 5.
Yes!
And stuff like that.
Forgotten about Farting Preacher.
And he'd just out of nowhere go, hey, I just found this. And you go, oh, and it was always funny.
Yeah, that's right.
I
went to his house recently and he's got that bar.
He's still got the bar.
He's still got the bar. And that is, so the combination of living around the corner from that house, but then being in the house where the bar now is.
Mate, and there were ongoing... there were ongoing running jokes in that house. Like, I'd go over to the bar and I'd be talking and then I'd just pretend to be walking towards you guys and pretend to trip and then pretend to impale my head on his aria and then have blood going everywhere, which once again, it kind of sounds lame, but when it's almost like when you do it so often that people are like, oh, he's behind the bar.
But I think it's such a
he's going to trip and hit his head on the aria again.
It's such a I think about it a lot and what a good life lesson it is in general.
Yeah.
It's like so many things. It's about the pageantry.
Yes.
It's like the actual thing is like whatever. It's like poker is so, for me, and then I would so me and Drew got really into it and then we would have late nights with our friends.
Yeah.
And it was like, you've got to fucking carry on.
Yeah.
There's got to be a degree of and there's so many things in life that are like the actual thing that you're doing is like... Yeah. It's whatever. It's by the by.
The other thing is that you need good audience.
Yeah.
And Gatesy's good audience. Mm-hmm, like that poor guy. He do you remember when the piano was in the corner? The bar got moved and the piano was in the corner.
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah.
And I would go and play the piano and sing to him when to be honest, he was high and he was not moving. And I would go and I was high too. I would go and play the piano and sing to him, and I'd sing really seriously, but I can't play piano.
Yeah, that's right.
So I would just be making this god-awful noise, but I would be singing, Goodbye Yellow Brick Rose, and he would laugh. And one of the great joys in life is if you can make your friends laugh.
Oh, yeah.
It's really warming, know. It's like there's Lemo's one of those ones. Like, if I'm kind of feeling a bit manic in a bad mood, I'll call Lemo and I say, do you have 5 minutes for me to rant? And he will go, absolutely, Troy. He always calls me by my middle name.
You'll be happy to know this, that I was talking to Dilrook recently and he had been at, I think, somewhere in Adelaide with you. Yeah. And he was like, I think he said it was like him, Thorno, maybe Will and you. And he's like, Hammo was killing.
Oh, right. Yeah. Funnier off than not.
He was on fire.
Right.
That thing of... I mean, yeah, you want your work to go well, but you want to be the guy that can fucking hold court and have your friends just losing it. It's such a good feeling.
Just in case, for people who don't know me and you might think I'm an arsehole, I'm also good audience. If someone else is holding court and laughing, I'm into that as well.
Of course, yeah. No, totally. Yeah. But yeah, there was so much pageantry to turning over the cards that you had, and I've started doing that with Lauren. We'll take a deck of cards to the pub when we just go for a drink, and we play chance, which is where it's really simple. You have 4 cards, you can look at 2 of them, and you're trying to put together the smallest hand possible. So an ace is 1, counts for 1, and so you can look at 2 of them and decide if you want to put them down and then draw another one.
Yeah.
But then you have 2 that you're not allowed to look at unless if you give them up, then that you turn them over face up.
Yeah.
And they go on a pile, and the other person can then choose to take the top card of the pile.
Right.
So you might discard one that's like an ace, but you haven't looked at it yet. And
Yeah.
so when you think you've got the best hand, you knock.
Yeah.
Then the other person has one more turn. Then you like reveal the cards. And so frequently I will have my 4. I'll have looked at the middle 2 and I'll have gotten them down to like an ace and a 2. And then I'll knock and I'll be like, oh, fuck, Jesus Christ, well, here are mine. And then I turn over the 2 that I've seen and then I'm like, and now here's the twist. I don't even know what these other 2 are yet. And she's like, just turn them over. And I'm like, so this first one here, let's find out together, and really taking as long as I can.
Yeah.
Turning it around, and then it's like a 3 and being like, wouldn't have minded that a little lower. And now let's add this up. So like now I've got a combined total of 6, and over there you've got an 8. Right. So basically what this needs to be is if it's a 2 we draw, and if it's an ace I win.
Yeah.
Anything above that, like if it's a 3 for example, or a 6, then I've lost. And it's fascinating because like I don't know what's in there. I've got a bit of a lay of what's just really hyping it up as much as I can.
And she loves it?
I feel like she goes through waves.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Some days.
But I feel like that's a lot of game shows are like that, right?
Oh
like,
my God, yeah.
like Deal or No Deal. Rest in peace, Andrew O'Keefe. But like that show was just it's just people fucking guessing. There's nothing going on in that show.
Yeah.
It's all about the guy up there being like, bringing a bit of riz to just people fucking picking something at random.
Mate, the Grant and A-OK back in the day.
Yeah.
Like that's hard work.
It's really tough work.
This is how good they are. They genuinely look like they're into it.
Right.
And maybe they are.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly not. But I couldn't stop watching.
Yeah, I think you've got to be. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was one of those things where Deal or No Deal is one of those shows where one day someone says to you, how does it work? And you go, people just guess. But you've been watching it for ages.
Yeah. I'd love to see Gleason bring a bit more of his poker style to Hard Quiz, because he's too keen to rip into people. If he had a bit more of the pageantry to it, I'd love to. I don't know. It doesn't really work in the concept of the show, but I'd love the joint bank account to somehow get a run on Hard Quiz.
Mate, let's petition him. When I say petition him, let's text him. Let's text him and say, bring it back, mate. It's good shit. Give something that will just jazz it up. It's been around for a while.
Yeah. You need to go on there as a contestant, and your specialty subject can be wedding cakes.
Yeah.
I really can only answer one kind of specific thing, and I don't even know how you would phrase that into a question. But
my topic will be in jokes that we've really enjoyed.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
Who doesn't love a bit of Hammo? Great fun, great catch up. I hope that was enjoyable to listen to because it certainly was a lot of fun to do. We hadn't seen each other for a while and it was great to catch up and go over some of the highlights of our shared history going back 20 years or so now. As I mentioned up the top of the show, we are on Patreon. Patreon.com/howtodoeverything is where you can go to support the show, get some bonus mini episodes. There is one coming up with Hammo on Friday if you want to hear a little bit more of our chat. We get into some of his questions, his answers to the questionnaire that we didn't get around to on the main ep. There's a bunch of episodes on there. Some of them are with people who've been on the main episode. Others are just like random little, two previous guests or sometimes people who haven't been on the show yet. There's a bit of a wealth of stuff on there. Go check it out if you want some more content and if you want to support the show. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you next time for more How to Do Everything.